Coming up on WUFT's First at 5, heat advisories have already been issued for Saturday, and record highs are possible before things cool down next week. UF forecaster Aiden Wacksman will time out the highest heat for this weekend.
Plus, the first deportation flights leaving out of Alligator Alcatraz this week. Governor DeSantis in the Everglades this morning to discuss the site's rapid development.
And the Deputy Attorney General met with convicted Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell for a second time in Tallahassee. What they discussed and what comes next in the search for justice. First at 5 starts right now.
First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
The heat is continuing to ramp up as we close out the month here in North Central Florida. Welcome to First at 5. I'm Matt Montalto.
And I'm Magnel Loper. With temperatures expected to reach nearly 100 degrees this weekend, let's get right over to your forecaster, Aiden Wacksman. Aiden, I was looking forward to spending some time outdoors this weekend, but I'm thinking that might not be such a great idea with all this heat.
The heat's definitely going to be extreme this weekend, and it's already pretty hot today, but right now some of us are getting a break from some of that heat because of some of these showers and storms rolling through for those of us in Lafayette, Sewanee, and Columbia counties. Some pretty heavy rains, rain rates of 2 inches an hour or more through those areas right now. But the rest of us are seeing mostly clear skies, staying pretty sunny out there because of a high pressure system that's kind of making that air sink and making it a little bit harder for those thunderstorms to get started. If we look at those feel-like temperatures, 98 at the airport, but some of us are seeing triple digits in Ocala, for example, 102, and it's only going to get hotter this weekend. The rest of the night looking like it's going to not really cool off that much, and those rain chances should taper off around 8 o'clock. Coming up, I'll let you know how we could see some record highs early next week.
Nearly a month after its official opening, deportation flights are officially leaving out of Alligator Alcatraz. Governor Ron DeSantis celebrated the controversial achievement with a press conference this morning. DeSantis told reporters about 100 detainees have been deported directly from Alligator Alcatraz, while hundreds more have been flown to federal deportation sites. And while officials say this is just the beginning when it comes to deportations, the governor is already pleased with the site's progress.
I think you're going to see the cadence on these flights start to pick up. Obviously, honestly, to get to where we were at the beginning of this month and now have flights leaving already with a facility that's been built out, that's incredible.
Governor DeSantis reiterated his plans for a second detention center in Florida if more capacity is needed. It is expected that if built, the second facility will be located at Camp Blanding.
Another statement released by the governor this morning, his recommendation for the next Visit Florida president and CEO, Brian Griffin. Griffin currently works as the communications director in the executive office of the governor. He also serves as press secretary for the organization Ron DeSantis for President. In his new role, Griffin will oversee tourism, promotion, and partnership with the business community. Visit Florida acts as the state's official tourism agency and destination marketing organization.
More news out of Tallahassee. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche met privately with convicted Jeffrey Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell and her lawyers in a Florida courthouse this morning. Aaron Gilchrist reports on the DOJ's second day of questioning from the state's capital.
Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney, David Marcus, walked out of the courthouse here a little after 12:30 and took several questions from the media gathered out here. He said that he believes his client did not get a fair trial before she was convicted back in 2021, and he said that he believes this conversation with the Deputy Attorney General is one that would be really the first opportunity his client has had to answer questions from prosecutors. He went on to say that part of his goal in being here and answering these questions is trying to get some relief. I asked him, do you think this meeting will result in some relief for your client? And he said he didn't know at this point. He then took it upon himself to bring up President Trump. He talked about what he believes President Trump, his lack of knowledge about some of the circumstances around this prosecution as it relates to promises made, as he said, by the Department of Justice in the Jeffrey Epstein larger investigation. I want you to hear a little bit of what Mr. Marcus had to say about that issue.
The government at the time promised her that promised Jeffrey Epstein that any potential co-conspirators would not be prosecuted. And so she deserves that promise. And I'm surprised. I don't think President Trump knows that the Justice Department took the position that that promise should not be upheld.
Aaron Gilchrist reporting. The Lake County Sheriff's Office says its SWAT team raided a possible dogfighting ring Wednesday. The team found about 30 dogs at the site which lacked clean water and shelter. Deputies arrested 48-year-old Jason Bigger on animal neglect charges. Lake County Sheriff's Deputy Stephanie Early says most of the dogs had scarring consistent with dog fighting. Law enforcement found the dogs packed in small makeshift kennels. They're pit bull mixes ranging from 10 weeks to 10 years old. Now, they're at the Lake County Animal Shelter where the staff had their hands full when they took in all the dogs.
This is probably our largest dog cruelty case and a single impound that we have had here.
She expects the rescue dogs to make a full recovery, but they aren't yet up for adoption because they're still a part of an active investigation. The shelter is asking anyone with information about the possible dog fighting ring to contact the sheriff's office.
The Alachua County Sheriff's Office needs your help locating a man for alleged sexual battery of a minor. Officials are currently on the hunt to find Ariel Martinez, who is being accused of sexual battery of a minor. If you or anyone you know has any information on his whereabouts, please contact investigators or Alachua County Crime Stoppers.
Enrollment in the largest youth development organization in the country opens soon, right here in Alachua County. The 4-H Youth Development Program has clubs for all interests, including STEM, creative arts, and leadership. 4-H is the youth development program of UF-IFAS, providing youth aged 5 to 18 with the opportunity to learn important life skills early. Enrollment for the 25-26 4-H year opens September 1st, and new families can create a profile and enroll through 4-H online. To explore pricing, local options, or other information about the program, visit the 4-H website.
Before we break, we wanted to alert you of an ongoing DOJ investigation into the United Healthcare Group. The DOJ will be taking a look into the company's Medicare billing practices. This comes after the Wall Street Journal reported that in May that the DOJ had already opened an investigation into United Healthcare's Medicare Advantage program. The company is one of a number of insurers the federal government contracts to provide Medicare coverage to senior citizens and other enrollees.
When we return, the feud between two of America's most powerful men, President Trump and Fed Chair Jerome Powell, taking center stage Thursday.
And Gaza on the brink of a famine. A new report from the United Nations giving a glimpse into just how dire the situation has become.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
The long simmering feud between President Trump and Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell takes center stage. The president, reportedly unhappy with the chairman's resistance to decreasing interest rates, met with Powell and the press at the construction site of the new Fed headquarters Thursday.
During a tour of the Fed's ongoing renovation project, President Donald Trump claimed that the work cost $3.1 billion. That's about $600 million more than its stated price tag, leading to an uncomfortable exchange where Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell fact-checked Trump in real time.
The 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
Our notes had it about 3.1 as well.
3.1.
3.2.
This came from us?
Yes. I don't know who does that.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just added.
Our entire capital.
Yeah, you just added in a third building. Is what that is. That's a third building.
Well, no,
the
but
Martin building.
it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
This project, which is costing more than originally expected, has become a big focus point for the president, even saying at one point that it could be a fireable offense, as he criticizes Powell for other things. It's important to note that typically presidents have avoided taking any steps that might appear to interfere in the central bank's independence. But Trump has been ramping up pressure on Powell when it comes to a politically sensitive issue, lowering interest rates, as Powell has been keeping interest rates steady. Powell has told multiple allies and associates that there's no chance he will bow to the president's calls for him to resign, arguing that stepping down would undermine the institution's long-standing freedom from political interference. At the White House, I'm Julia Benbrook.
This afternoon, Florida Senator Rick Scott released a statement calling for Powell's removal, citing corruption, mismanagement, and a lack of accountability. No president has ever fired a Federal Reserve chairman.
Gaza is on the brink of a famine. The United Nations now saying nearly a third of residents are going days without eating, and hospitals are getting overwhelmed. Palestinian Health Ministry says over 40 Palestinians died because of malnutrition in just the last week. On your screen is one of the few soup kitchens still serving meals. Over 100 humanitarian aid organizations and 28 Western nations now saying Israeli blockades are reducing Gazans' food access, with Israeli restrictions on aid distribution through the border making it difficult and dangerous for organizations to provide food.
I don't know what you would call it other than mass starvation. And it's man-made. And that's very clear. And this is because of blockade.
Israel denies that it's using starvation as a weapon. And with hundreds of trucks inside Gaza awaiting pickup, the UN says Israeli authorities repeatedly failed to authorize safe routes to pick up those stockpiles.
Feel like temperatures outside are in the mid to high 90s right now, but it's going to get even hotter this weekend and early next week. I'll tell you some more about some possible record highs we could be seeing coming up.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
You know, guys, we said at the start of the show, it's the end of July, starting to get through the end of summer break for a lot of the school kids. And, you know, one thing that I love doing over the summer, dipping in the pool, and a lot of our viewers might also enjoy dipping in the lake as well, dipping in the pool, all that good stuff.
Yeah, you might like getting into the pool, but I'm sure some viewers at home are just like me. They love getting onto the grill throughout the summer.
This weekend is a great time to grill because those rain chances are much lower than they have been for the past week or so. You can see here on the Saturday grilling forecast that we're looking pretty hot this weekend, that's for sure. So make sure you are staying hydrated and cool if you are grilling out there. But the good news is those rain chances are lower, so you can cook up your masterpiece and try and serve it at about 6 o'clock, so that way you can avoid some of those showers and thunderstorms. Low chances, but still a chance, so just good to be aware of that. You can see some showers and storms moving through parts of Suwannee and Columbia County right now, but for the rest of us in north central Florida, we're steering clear of rain today, and that should be the case for most of the weekend as well. This high pressure here is going to make a lot of air sink as it travels closer to the west, and it'll actually get over the state of Florida. That's when, again, that air will sink, and that's going to mean less showers and storms, but it's also going to mean some warmer temperatures out there as well. We were tracking this one low pressure system that was moving off to the west for tropical development, but right now there's pretty much a near zero chance that this develops into anything. Way too much land interference and way too much wind shear at the upper levels that are just tearing this system apart. So the good news is no more tropical development for now. So that's always good to hear. You can see overhead on campus, if you look over here, not many clouds, right? We're actually staying pretty clear, 92 degrees, feels like 100 out there. But if you look over to the west, you can see some of those thunderstorm clouds that are moving well off to our north right now. But those rain chances should taper off at about 8 o'clock or so. If we look at this heat index, you can see not super hot, or at least normally. We're not like above average right now necessarily. Ocala at 102. But if we look for Saturday and the rest of the weekend, that's when things will really heat up. This heat advisory means temperatures between 108 and 113 degrees, or feel like temperatures, for 2 hours or more. So just make sure you're staying hydrated out there, staying safe, and being cautious of heat illness. And we could actually see a record high on Monday. 98 is the forecast high, the all-time record 97 degrees. So these are some next level temperatures coming up for the rest of the week and to early next week as well. And you can see on Monday those feel like temperatures, that's really where it's at. 108 feel like in Gainesville, 107 in Ocala, and 106 in Cross City and Dixie County. So we're just staying very, very hot out there with our feel-like temperatures. The chance for showers and storms should taper off throughout the rest of the night into 2 a.m. Should be pretty clear, those showers and storms. Tomorrow, again, could see a couple, but very isolated rain chances, much lower than what they were last week. So a very good opportunity to go outside and do some of those outdoor activities that you may love. That high-pressure system is going to be what causes all of that air to sink, and that's going to make those hot temperatures really, really even hotter, and we're just going to see a lot of humidity as well. The rest of the week, looking into the weekend, again, those rain chances dipping, but could see those pick up as that high-pressure system leaves our area. I'll have one final look at the weather coming up, but first, let's see what Jordyn has in sports.
Coming up in sports, Florida's athletic director responds to President Donald Trump's executive order on regulations of NIL deals for collegiate athletes. In a scary moment down in Miami at Dolphins training camp, we'll tell you which player had to be airlifted out of practice after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
It's finally the end of the week. Let's end it off with sports. I'm Jordyn Banks. NFL fall camps are underway in a frightening scene for Miami fans this week when offensive lineman Bayron Matos was airlifted after suffering an undisclosed training camp injury. Here's Miami head coach Mike McDaniel with an update regarding his player's condition.
That's a tough moment for any team. We were really pumped to hear that he is feeling in movement in all extremities. And he's doing better and better, which is what we're focused on.
The Dolphins have not said what happened or what it could mean for Matos this season. He remains in the hospital in stable condition. The college sports world could be on the verge of another big shift. A presidential executive order called Saving College Sports was signed by the president yesterday and outlining sweeping changes from limiting athlete compensation to protecting schools from antitrust lawsuits. The order would create one set of national rules for name, image, and likeness, deals overriding state laws that could give athletes different opportunities depending on where they play. It also calls for safeguards to protect Olympic and non-revenue sports. For some programs, schools have considered cutting to pay for rising NIL and legal costs. Critics, including NCAA President Charlie Baker, says the order doesn't fix deeper issues. It might not hold up against legal challenges. Federal agencies now have up to 60 days to develop enforcement plans, meaning big changes, if any, are still months away. Just hours ago, University of Florida's athletic director Scott Strickland released a statement responding to Trump's new executive order, saying this underscores the growing recognition in the need to modernize the collegiate model while preserving educational purposes. Gators women's basketball team will be on island time this fall. The Lady Gators will participate in the Cayman Islands Classic. The tournament will be held during Thanksgiving week in Georgetown, Grand Cayman. Florida has been slated to take on Memphis in its opening game on Friday, November 28th. The matchup between UF and Memphis will be the fourth and final game of the day. The Gators will return to the court on Saturday, November 29th to face Georgia Tech. Heading to St. Petersburg, the council has officially terminated a new stadium deal with the Tampa Bay Rays. The Thursday's unanimous vote comes months after the baseball franchise announced its withdrawal from the $6.5 billion project. Despite the termination, the city is still required to maintain Tropicana Field through the end of the 2028 MLB season, when the Rays' current agreement with the city expires. In the meantime, roof repairs and other maintenance work are ramping up at the stadium as the city fulfills its obligation to get the stadium game ready for the 2026 season. To wrap up with sports, former Gator Ricky Castillo is competing in the 3M Open. He is making his way through the second round in Minneapolis and is T28 through 7. When we'll come back, we'll take one last look at your weather forecast.
Rain chances are taking a dip for the next couple of days, but you might want to take a dip in the pool because of how hot it's going to be. We could be seeing some near record temperatures, and on Monday we could actually break a record as well. So it's going to be a very hot weekend. Make sure to be aware of heat illness, take precautions, and have a wonderful weekend.
Might not be a bad idea to bring some sunscreen and some nice cold water. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll be right back here on Monday with another edition of First at 5.
But your North Florida Central news can always be found at WUFT.org. Thanks for watching and have a good night.